understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to do something first. You need to believe in the impossible. Can you do that?
What do you desire that you can't have?
When I eat a brain, I get visions.
Don't ever come back to Gotham.
You have failed this city.
Jesus, what kind of a preacher are you?
There's about a dozen ways that I could stop you right now. But I don't think I have to.
Because where I'm from, your grandson becomes the greatest hero in the universe.
Now you should at least give a brother a moment to say something heroically clever.
In the future, my friends may not be heroes, but if we succeed, they will be remembered as legends.
Welcome to the DC TV report for the week ending Saturday, June 8th, 2019. I'm Edward O'Hare, nickname to be determined.
And I'm Sarah Netzley, academic by day, freelance writer by night.
We're here to bring you recaps, news, and commentary for all live-action television shows based on DC Comics.
And there were 2 new episodes this week in what's starting to feel like our summer vacation, Ed. 2 episodes.
2 episodes.
It's a
Wow.
cakewalk.
Wow. This is a reprieve because next week we're kicking it up a notch. It's going to be 3 next week. So
I don't know that I can handle
that. Enjoy this rest while it lasts. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. We got 2 episodes. We got some news. We got some sad news. We got some good news. There's so much going on in the DC TV universe, and we're here to bring it all to you. First, Sarah, how are you doing? You feeling okay?
Feeling okay, feeling good. I warned you I was going to do this, but I just need to talk for a second about the new Wonder Woman poster for Wonder Woman 1984. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I want to tattoo it on the inside of my eyelids so I can see it when I drift off to sleep at night. It's gorgeous. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
What do you want to tattoo on the inside of your eyelids this week?
Jesus.
You weren't ready for that? Come on, you should always be prepared. Always have an answer for that.
Well, I staved off Twitter for a week. Seems like depending on your point of view, it may or may not have been a good week to do that.
Do you feel healthier?
Actually, yeah.
Happier? Does the air smell sweeter?
Yeah, I feel relaxed. I'm a little less stressed out. I'm focusing a little bit more. I'm not constantly looking at screens as much. I don't have that edge, that like urge to just like, okay, I got to see what's going on. I could just like, oh, okay, maybe I could just sit back, relax, and listen to my podcasts.
Sorry, are you what are you like talking to your family and like reading books on paper?
Actually, I do have a copy of Richard Stark's The Score right next to me. I'm a big fan of the Parker novels.
All right, so Ed is embracing a happier, healthier lifestyle. Rolling into the summer. Mm-hmm. I'm just doing more Twitter. I'm picking up his slack. So.
Yeah, I did check the DC TV report account. So, if you did tweet at us, there will be some mentions today. Also, Sarah, we had another email from Thomas.
Ooh.
Yes.
Well, that sounds fun. Hit me.
Yeah. I feel like he might have just thrown down these comments as he was listening to our last episode. So we may or may not know what he's referring to, but still. He says, enjoying the show this week. Wings? I'm more of a sizzler guy. All you can eat always gets me. A shame Good Witch is not DC. What would Sarah and Ed do with it?
Oh, man. That would be fun.
I have not watched The Good Witch. I was watching The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina for a while.
That was a little bit of a disappointment, but that's not what this email's about.
No.
Continue.
With Stargirl coming soon, he hopes for news. Do we have Stargirl news this week?
I'm so sorry we don't, but keep checking.
Yeah. A hint on the Tales from the Phantom Zone, and he provides a link. which we finally figured out what the deal was.
We finally figured it out. You got to scroll across. There's arrows. It starts with the black and white, and you scroll across. It's a weird way to present it, but whatever. You do use sci-fi website. It's the colored panels are great.
Yeah.
Most importantly, it looks like Segel has a beard this season, so I'm into it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I feel like he had a little bit of stubble going on. So depending on how long
it looks, it's a Phantom Zone grief beard, and I'm into it. Yeah, I'm excited for the premiere now.
Yeah, yeah. And he said it was a good cast. Thanks for keeping me up to date. We need more of Sarah's kitty updates. LOL.
They're good. My all black cat is going a little gray around the neck, and it made me sad because time comes for us all. But she's a sweetheart. Thank you for asking.
There you go. Where is Barbecue right now? Because it's the one I know always causes trouble with the equipment.
I literally just opened the door to see if she was lurking around outside the recording door, but she's not. So probably napping. Honestly, there's good sun coming in right now. So
there you go. All right.
She missed her chance. I opened the door for you, cat. Okay. That's the cat update.
All right. So that was our social media. You can email us if you want to drop us a line. It's dctv@wickedtheory.com. Love to do that. Love to hear from you. Please do that. Also, if you're listening to us on whatever podcast app, if there's a rate and review option, please rate and review us. That helps more people find us, especially like Apple Podcasts. They have this wacky algorithm. The more ratings and reviews you get, the more that they promote you. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a vicious cycle.
Yeah, tell all your friends. As we say, if you listen to one of the shows we cover, it's worth subscribing and downloading. Sarah, you ready to get into the meat and potatoes this week?
Absolutely. Yeah. Although I'm a little uncomfortable with us transitioning into iZombie based on that, because iZombie's meat and potatoes is probably got some brain in it.
Yep, probably. That's okay. All right, so we're kicking it off with iZombie, Season 5, Episode 6, The Scratchmaker. Blaine's life was turned upside down in the wake of his arrest, and Donnie's loyalty to Blaine was put to the test. Major scrambled to find a solution to the impending brain shortage after Stacy Boss swooped in and tried to gouge prices. Liv ate the brain of a professional matchmaker and tried to set up Major with a woman that Graham helped cheat her renegade interview. Last minute reveal, Blaine closed a deal with a wealthy buyer for the brain of a Freilich patient.
Was this week the week that Donnie became a man?
I think it might have been.
This was a fun premise. What did you think about this slightly different take to iZombie storytelling?
Yeah. I thought it was interesting that it wasn't from Liv's point of view. I always think it's interesting when you go out of the box and you show us a different character. And yeah, this was Donnie's week to shine. This is like, when you look back on his run on the show, I think this is going to be the episode that everyone points to. This is his turning point where like everything gets real. And he has to make decisions. And am I gonna help Blaine, or am I gonna go in with Stacy Boss? The bar is basically his now. What is he gonna do with it? And he changes the name of the scratching post. A lot of.
I was just thinking about when he says to Blaine with just judgment dripping from his voice, "Why'd you keep the mask?" That was a big character moment. I was impressed.
Yeah, because Donnie for all this time we think was kind of, he was a happy-go-lucky. Hey man, I'm with this guy and everything's working out, so I don't need to worry about the details. And when Major goes to him, so what's the deal with Blaine's connections? Can you help us? And he really doesn't have a clue as to how the business runs. And I thought this was a really good story arc for him. I was impressed. Yeah, and at the end, he's the one who's getting real with Blaine. Like, hey, listen, can't be around here,
Mm-hmm.
and he would not have had the gumption to face Blaine down and be as honest with him just a week ago.
Yeah, this I don't. You don't often see a leap in character development like that over the course of an episode, but this was great. And I mean, Donnie has always, he's been quietly growing on all of us, I think, over the course of the show's run. So this just felt like a nice final season capper. I will say, I almost wish we hadn't seen Liv scenes at all. That she had been only in the periphery when Donnie was involved, and that everything would have revolved around him. You know, I wish they'd kind of committed wholly to the premise and truly made it the Donnie Blaine story and just have the rest of them sort of on the periphery. That would have been kind of cool, I thought. They did a little bit of that, but then they'd let some Liv only stuff in. So, but yeah, I enjoyed what we got. That just would have been, I think, even more audacious, if you will.
Yeah, and I'm also disappointed that Liv wasn't able to have the vision to tell Donnie who his match would have been.
Genuinely disappointed. That would have been a nice capper at the very end for her to be like, oh, her name is Rebecca. And for him to be looking for, are you Becky? Also, we got Ken Marino back as the lawyer. I love him. I love that character. I also have a question. Short robes on men. Do actual men in the world wear short robes, or are they literally only made and sold for Hollywood as a visual joke?
I mean, as far as like regular ham and eggers, no. No, I think it's something maybe the rich and obnoxious do because someone tells them it's European.
It makes me laugh every time, but at the same time, I also wonder, does this happen in the world?
Yeah, either that or the girl that they're staying with says, just use my robe. But yeah. But yeah, Ken Marino as Brant Stone.
Always amazing.
Yes. And, he makes no bones about it. I'm here for my retainer. I've done just as much as the money you've given me will cover.
Oh, yeah.
You got to find $50,000 somewhere if you want me to do anything else for you.
The lawyer on my couch approved of pretty much everything he did this week. Yep, that's how it works. That sounds familiar.
Yeah. I thought this was a good episode, and the other thing we didn't really talk about is Major. Major had to get really creative here, and I thought this was a great story of American ingenuity.
Yes, I was proud of Major. He does not always get the best story. I feel like he often is an afterthought, or he's just part of the bigger plot. But this was a good Major story.
Yeah. So basically, Stacy Boss says, "I want to raise prices," and puts him into a corner. And he's like, "What am I going to do?" And he's trying to find people who will help him. And then, of course, Ravi buying night vision goggles gives him the idea to go to Tyler, the Euphrates CEO. Tyler Griss. And so it's like, okay, we've got some competition here. You're not the only game in town. And he gets Boss to cut his rates.
And then we play the gambler as we focus out on Major. I will say, I need 80% less of Major in a beret. I'm just putting that out there. But
kind of, yeah.
Also,
kind of.
Oh no, go ahead. Say something about the beret.
No, I was gonna say it's a requirement. It's the uniform.
I can't believe you defended the beret. He's in charge now. He could be like, "Nah, we're not doing this anymore." Berets are dumb.
Well, as a father who was in the army, who was in the army when they forced every soldier to wear a black beret. He referred to it as Monica's revenge. So I can sympathize.
I will say I'm on record as hoping that Liv and Major can work it out this season, and Liv trying to set him up with the perfect woman, it broke my heart a little. But I did like Major immediately being like, oh, matchmaker brain, got it. Like I said, this is a really good Major episode. Also, I before we move past this, because we do need to talk about the Dolly thing for just a second, but Blaine's house burning hurt me because that was a beautiful house. Blaine moving into Donnie's parents' basement, amazing. Blaine telling Donnie, if you continue, the scream I utter will shatter the universe, was my favorite part of the episode. And also, Donnie's mom should not be washing those bras in the washing machine. That's hand-washed delicates, so... yeah.
Okay, I
That's what I got.
Okay. And yeah, Dolly's the worst. Dolly is the worst.
She has a zombie son. That was awful.
No, she doesn't anymore, because she disowned him because he works for Fillmore Graves. How'd you like to be a fly on the wall at those Thanksgiving dinners?
Jeez. Well, it's, this is Pride Month, and I've seen a lot of things on social media, like if your family's disowned you, I'm your mom now, come to me for hugs, advice, be sure to eat your vegetables. It was an interesting allegory in Pride Month for him to be like, yeah, don't have a family anymore. It was sad. And then the show also gave us the cold cocks joke, so it was a pendulum with various emotions this week.
Yep. And I mean, which I was saying this online. Which do you think is more shocking, that Dolly's son works for Fillmore Graves, or that Al Bronson turned out to be Stacy Boss's niece?
Honestly, I was shocked by both. Probably the Dolly's son is a zombie who works for Fillmore Graves got me a little bit more, just because it has bigger ramifications, more emotional ramifications. But yeah, the Al thing surprised me too. That's some bad journalism. I mean, if that's an intentional hatchet piece to help your uncle, I take back the kind things I said about her. It's crappy journalism, lady.
Well, I think the whole thing's a snow job. I mean, we thought that she was this investigative journalist, that she was really out to find the truth, and it turns out no, she was just a pawn in Boss's plan.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed in her. I am both mad and disappointed.
Yeah, and the place where Blaine finds himself having to go, that he's tracking down Freilich patients, and it's basically, hey, I'll give you $500,000 and take care of your family. And he found someone willing to volunteer for this. Oof.
I think he's also willing to arrange an accident pretty soon, so...
Yeah, this was...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Damn. I don't like a single bit of it. Ugh, I don't like it. All right.
I do like a desperate Blaine. I like Blaine. I like Blaine losing control. There's a lot of red eyes from Blaine this week. So I think when a character like that starts to spiral, that means good things for the storytelling. So bring on the next episode.
Yeah. Yes. And I think this is the character at his best. When he's really charming and doing vile, horrible things.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Oh, by the way, Malcolm Goodwin directed this episode, the actor who plays Clive, just in case anybody was curious. Ooh. So, yeah.
Maybe that's why the mystery took a back seat this episode.
And I also wonder if maybe that's why Clive was MIA the week before. Maybe he was prepping for it, so that's why they had him only FaceTiming in. Just a thought.
Oh, okay. Oh, and it turns out that the mother of the groom did it.
Of course. Yes, of course.
All right. Anything more to discuss? Any news or?
Nope. No news. Nope. Just yet another fine episode.
All right. Moving on to our second and final episode for this week, Swamp Thing. Season 1, Episode 2, Worlds Apart. In the wake of Alec's death, Abby continued her investigation and tried going to Avery Sunderland for answers. Maria Sunderland believed her daughter was calling her from the beyond and paid a visit to Madame Xanadu. Susie Coyle felt a mental link with the Swamp Thing and escaped the hospital to try and comfort him. Last minute reveal, Susie explained to Abby that the creature spoke to her and said his name was Alec.
This was scary. This was a gross, scary episode, and I say that with a lot of respect and enjoyment.
This was so good. This was so good. This was everything I wanted this show to be. Oh man, the effects, the story, it's compelling. There's we got Madame Xanadu, we got Daniel Casey, we got the Blue Devil showing up in this. Oh, and those scenes and when Swamp Thing's trying to figure out who he is, and he's literally pulling himself apart, just taking chunks of branches out of his head, and you see the swamp going to fill in those patches. Oh, it was so good and scary, and we can't.
Co-signed what you said, all of it. I like that, Aquaman has a certain way of dealing with trouble down at the docks, and Swamp Thing has a very different way of dealing with trouble down at the docks.
Yeah. I mean, when Munson when the Munson, the guy with the machete, has Susie cornered.
I'm sorry. The guy with the
machete.
What? Okay, continue.
Okay. Has Susie cornered, and you think that like Swamp Thing is going to just try to fight him hand to hand, and then you just see the branches shoot out of everywhere and go straight through him. Oh man.
Yeah. Good effects.
All right. I feel like we should. I mean, it's news, but I feel like we should just get this out of the way because I know everyone listening to this, it's kind of the elephant in the room. Sarah, you say it. I don't want
to. This is going to be its only season. DC Universe has canceled it. They announced it after the first episode aired. We hadn't even gotten the second episode yet before they announced it. There was a lot of confusion online about why, a lot of blaming of North Carolina, promised tax rebates and things like that. That seems to not all be accurate. It's not the case that it was some sort of paperwork error or anything like that. They're, from what I understand, contracts to do these things are locked up tight before you set foot in the state to start filming. But whatever the reason, whether it's financial, whether it's storytelling, whether it's vision, whether it's interconnectedness with the other shows, they decided to pull the plug. So we will get these 10 episodes and then we will get no more, which I am really bummed about. This is such a good show. It's so different. It's fresh and scary. I think the acting is working. The atmosphere is amazing. So it's disappointing. It's disappointing, DC Universe.
Yeah, it's disappointing. Yeah.
And I guess maybe if the second episode had premiered and it was a huge drop off in quality or was a wildly different thing, and it's like, oh, okay, well, they went all out for the pilot and then they dropped the ball for the rest of the season. It's hard to say after 2 episodes, but this remained consistently good and in the world that they built in the pilot. And I just hope we get a full, strong season and that they got to rejigger the ending so that they can end it the way they would have if they had gotten whatever kind of run they were hoping to get. Does that make sense?
Yes, that does make sense. And I think that's perfect. So we even got a demand from our executive producer Bill Sweeney on Twitter. He said, WTF, Swamp Thing canceled. I demand answers, and I expect them on the next DC TV report. Maybe Sarah could do some investigative journalism on this one. And Sarah, I think you did.
Oh yeah, I'm coming to you from a hotel in North Carolina where I'm on the ground demanding answers.
Yeah. So that kind of hung, and the fact that this episode was so satisfying to me anyway, made it all the more depressing that we're only going to get one season of the show, but we might as well enjoy it.
That's I mean, all we can do at this point is just appreciate it for what it is and for how much we've got, and hope that we're going to get the full, the beginning, middle, and end that we, and I don't want to say deserve. Fans don't deserve things, and yet if they're going to cancel it, they should allow us to have some kind of closure if they have that kind of warning going into it. Let's talk. You want to talk about the Sunderlands and Abby a little bit?
Yeah. So Abby had a lot to go through this week. She
was processing some things.
Yeah, she had to deal with Alec, the death of Alec, this guy who she just met but really felt a connection with. She's trying to figure out what the heck is going on with this outbreak for the CDC. She on top of losing her new flame, her buddy Matt Cable came out and admitted to her that he's had a crush on her since high school. And on top of all that, in order to continue, part of her investigation involved her paying a visit to Avery Sunderland and having a very heartfelt moment with him about the events surrounding the death of his daughter.
Him referring to both my daughters really got me.
Yeah, Will Patton.
And also, if for me, it's cemented the fact that he is going to be the ultimate bad guy. Like, you can't have somebody say, you're like a daughter to me, and not have him turn out to be the big betrayer, evil person in the end, right?
Yeah, I mean, you even saw that immediately afterwards, where
it was confirmed. But when he said it, I was just like, well, guess we know.
yeah, where it's like, oh, I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for you. I owe you an apology. I feel really bad about how things turned out between us. But I'm glad things are back on your feet. Can we get into Alec's lab? Oh, no, I can't allow that. There's my lawyers. Yeah. There's proprietary information. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I was not alone. Agent Palmer also wondered if that's how old Will Patton is now. Last week when we were talking about that, so it's not just me.
I was going to say, our buddy Steph at Bad Wolf Bay 87. It's funny you should bring up Will Patton's age. Palmer had the same reaction. Is Will Patton really that old now? And one Google search later, it was still inconclusive on whether he is or was aged for the role.
I think the reason it's surprising is, to my eye, it looks a little artificial, like it might be a little enhanced. But again, I don't know that for sure. But it's always nice not to be alone in this void we call an existence. So thank you, Palmer and Steph, for supporting me in this.
Yeah, it's weird because like I always remember him from like Remember the Titans, when he was the middle-aged football coach. So to me the math kind of works, but they may have added some like gray into his hair or something like that, but I don't think he looks that much older.
I think we should do a segment every week that this show airs on how old is Will Patton. That won't get old. Okay, so I got a question for you. Who's got the creepier Southern magic? Madame Xanadu or Grandma and Preacher? Who is the creepier Southern, like, witch?
I mean, I don't think...
They're both real creepy.
They are both really creepy. I don't think we've seen enough of Xanadu here. It's weird because this version of Xanadu is a little different from the comics. In the comics, she's more of like... she's immortal. She has a little bit more of a Doctor Strange vibe than like a... just kind of more that she's like a sorceress. there's a great book from the New 52 called Demon Knights, where you see a young version of Madame Xanadu hanging around with Jason Blood and the Demon. And yeah, she's been around forever. She's tangled with a lot of different magical beings over the years. And it looks like this version she's blind, or at least there's something going on with her eyes. But yeah, I really do like this version. And after that whole scene with Maria, who needs to be stopped. She needs to be stopped.
She's out of control.
Yeah. Sleeping in your dead daughter's bed 10 years after she passed away, that's one thing. But then actually, it looks like you're hanging in there with your daughter's corpse, which may or may not be living. Oh man, I don't know. I think there are issues here. I think something needs to be talked out.
Grief is a different process for everyone, and I don't mean to minimize anybody's journey, but has she talked to anyone in the mental health industry? I feel like maybe some talk therapy, maybe some medication.
Yeah.
Serotonin reuptake, something she clearly is hurting, and it's real hard to watch because is that literally your daughter's corpse in that bed? So this show is great.
Yeah. This is intense. It's an intense show. And the other new character that we got to meet is the guy who owns the video store that Alec Holland was living in, kind of his landlord, I guess, was Daniel Cassidy, actor and stuntman, and Blue Devil. Sarah, do you know much about Blue Devil?
I do not.
Okay, so Blue Devil was this DC character from the 80s, and he was a stuntman named Daniel Cassidy, who's one of the best stuntmen in the business, and he did a movie where he was dressed up like this big giant blue devil. And I forget if it was something magical happens, and there's a deal struck. I forget if it was with Satan or something else, but somehow he actually ends up turning into the Blue Devil. He ends up stuck in the costume with this magical staff, and he decides to use it to fight crime and do good around the world.
That was a lot of words for you to say. Ian Ziering is in this show, and I'd completely forgotten about it until he walked on screen, and then I had to text a friend in all caps to be like, "Oh my god, I forgot!"
and yeah, this was a pleasant surprise that I was not expecting at all. And then you see the poster on the wall. Oh, he's played Blue Devil before. Oh, this is gonna be a thing. Are we gonna see him turn into Blue Devil? Probably not. That's a shame.
That would have been a season 3 thing.
Yeah.
DC Universe. I will say, we disagreed a little bit last week about Alec as a human, and I really liked him, and I don't think you did as much. I thought the video he did was heartbreaking. Again, because I kind of like that awkward, nerdy, weirdly confident charisma that he has going on. I loved him being like, she Googled me. It was so cute. It was so sad. And he needs new sandals, but he doesn't anymore. So yeah.
Yes, I thought that performance was much better than last week. I thought that was really good. And again, I hope that's all that we see of him.
You're a monster.
I hope we only see him on television screens in the future. I guess, season 3, when Swamp Thing speaks, I think the name of the episode is He Speaks. So we'll see how they handle that. I think this show works better because the flashbacks are sparse and minimalist. So we'll see.
And yet the word romance has been thrown around, gothic romance. So they have to do something, right? Can you do that with his Swamp Thing incarnation and pointing and shooting out vines?
Yes, you can.
I mean, probably. Okay. That was real fast and real strong.
I would point you to the works of Alan Moore.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Oh, that is. I mean, that really is a running theme through the comics. Is Abigail Arcane and Swamp Thing? They love each other, and it's very hard for them to get together.
Well, I have confirmed some spoilers that I'd seen online about how it works in the comics, and I'm curious if they'll do that. And I'm not being specific because I don't want, if anybody doesn't know, to see how they handle the comics, but I'll be curious if that's a route that they go, or if it will just be like vines and grunting and pointing at things. I don't know. I'm into it. Whatever they want to give me is great.
I know what you're talking about. And and yeah, that would be, especially who it involves. Oh man.
Well, now I don't know what you're talking. Let's talk about this off air.
Okay.
Sidebar, Your Honor. Hey, did we talk about Kevin Durand as Jason Woodrue? I mean,
yeah.
So how did they make this big strapping, I don't know, that guy is like 6'10", whatever. They made him this mild-mannered, glasses-wearing, kind of nerdy guy. Like, it's Kevin Durand. How did you do that? So something's going on with him. Clearly, he's he's in cahoots with Avery and not a good guy, but like, anytime you give me Kevin Durand, I'm happy. Basically, that's kind of all I wanted to say.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, Jason Woodrue does eventually become the Floronic Man. So we'll see.
Is he any relation to Animal, Vegetable, Mineral Man?
Not that far off. Not that same ballpark. Same ballpark.
Well, I assume you cast somebody like I'm sorry, I'm just going to keep saying Kevin Durand. I just think of him as this big strapping, like my brain looks at him and says, that is a man. And so you got to cast him to be some big menacing, Derek Mears type, right?
Yeah. And, and he's free now, especially after he tore his calf in the Western Conference Finals.
I didn't understand that reference.
Kevin Durand. I thought you meant Kevin Durant. He's a.
Edward? Did you just sports me?
Yeah.
If I could mute your microphone, I would.
Basketball player for the Golden State Warriors. No. Okay.
That's not a team. You're making things up. You've got the Lakers and you've got the Bulls, and that's basically where it stops. Come on.
Maybe it's Chicago.
Celtics. You've got the Celtics. I don't know.
Hey, I'm a lowly Knicks fan, so what do I know? Anyway, so yeah, the Floronic. So yeah, Jason Woodrue. Yeah, I thought he was great. He's all kinds. He's a big bucket of crazy. And him,
like, this show needed that. This show needed more crazy.
Yeah, and if you were gardening and someone told you to get a big bowl of water and sugar to throw around this tree, would you think twice? I would think twice. I think I would. Really? Water and sugar?
Are you trying to attract hummingbirds?
Yeah. But if it'll help. So yeah, and he's adamant that his toxin that his accelerant is not causing these people to get sick, which of course it is.
Reasonable. I believe him.
Oh, Swamp Thing. Oh, have we covered everything?
Is this going to be our heartbreak every week? Are we just going to be sad, like happy and sad every week about this?
Yeah, because I mean, well, all right, let's get into this. Let's really kind of, because the reason this is upsetting is one, that they announced it a week into its run, which I think is a really crappy thing to do. You know, you're, and because what that does is immediately tells people that this show isn't worth watching, that you have no faith in it. You're not even gonna let us get down to like the last couple of episodes before you announce that it's not gonna be coming back. You know, you don't even announce that it's a mini series. You just say straight up, yeah, this was gonna be an ongoing show, and now it's not happening. You know, and then of course, I think the real reason that this all came out is because on the same day, Warner Brothers announced that their plans for streaming service, and that they're going to do this 3-tiered thing, and that it's going to include HBO and Cinemax and the Warner movie library, and that, you know, basically it seems like they're rethinking the DC Universe app. And I don't know if DC Universe is still going to exist 6 months from now. You know, I mean, they have Stargirl, and they're filming in the can. They have Titans filming season 2 right now. You know, if we get those, are we going to get those? Who knows?
And on what platform?
Yeah, yeah.
And I forgive me, I realize we do a DC television news show, but have we heard about a Doom Patrol season 2?
No.
I guess I kind of assumed it was a done deal because critics really liked it, fans really liked it, but as I think about it, I don't think we have heard about that.
Yeah, because all the reaction to Swamp Thing had been positive. The critical reaction loved it. The only person who didn't like it was someone who tweeted the DC TV report @_the Canadian _. And I think you all know how I feel about Canadians. Sorry, Fulgrim. You seem like a nice guy. But
I think you're lovely, Fulgrim, for the record.
To be fair, he did not find the first episode compelling, which, you know, to each his own. But that's not the point right now, is that I feel like we had a great thing going here. And I feel like all of this bad press is just really gone all over it. And, this is disappointing. This is really heartbreaking.
So we've got Entertainment Weekly is going from weekly to monthly. We have DC Universe, you know, maybe up in the air, definitely canceling Swamp Thing. iTunes is going away. The Good Place is ending. It's a lot of change, both short term and long term, in terms of how long things have been in our lives. And I don't like it. I don't like it, Ed.
All right. Is there anything more to report, or
no? Our 5-hour segment on Swamp Thing is done.
All right. So next week, there's a show that's coming back that I just wanted to do a little bit of a recap for, because it's been like a year, and that is Krypton. So yeah, Krypton season 2 is going to be dropping on Sci-Fi next week. We will be covering it on the DC TV report. And yeah, I mean, we try to do this more for new shows that are dropping. And I just wanted to quickly go over what happened in season 1. Sarah, do you remember season 1? I will.
Here is what I remember. British people talking. You liked this show a little more than I did, honestly. It had some things I really enjoyed. I thought the set design was great. The acting was good, but it was just a lot of British people talking. So I rewatched the finale just as a refresher, and it did remind me of a lot of things that happened. It was a nice sort of way to dive back into it for next week. What do you think is important about last season?
I mean, I think what's important to last season, Seg-El, who's Superman's grandfather. You know, I thought it was interesting to learn the history of the El family, and that it was disgraced at one point. Because Seg-El's grandfather, Val-El, believed that Krypton was going to end, that the planet was in danger, and he was ostracized and sent to the Phantom Zone.
And then he kept coming back as a ghost to say, "I told you so."
And so so Seg-El was helped out by Adam Strange, a human from the future. who came to ensure that ensure that Superman would exist in the future. So Segel had a lot of friends to meet and understood the deep underbelly that was in Krypton's political system. And eventually it came down to Brainiac coming to bottle up Kandor, and the people of Kandor just rising up to fight back.
And if you're just tuning in, he doesn't mean bottle up like in traffic, snarl it up by shutting down lanes on a bridge, for example, to use an East Coast metaphor, Ed, that you might appreciate. He means literally bottle, right? Like in a bottle, like ship in a bottle, put it in a bottle.
Yeah, like scoop it up, shrink it down, and put it in a nice glass bottle for all of eternity.
just clarifying in case anybody was confused.
So yeah. Kandor, good news, Kandor was saved. But the bad news is that it was saved by General Zod.
And you know what we're going to do when we see Zod? You know what's going to happen?
Oh, he's going to make us kneel before him.
He's going to make us kneel.
So he's taken over Kandor and is turning Krypton into a brutal dictatorship, and is planning intergalactic conquest, which that's not what the Kryptonians do. That's not what the Kryptonians do. And Segel can't stop him because now he's trapped in the Phantom Zone.
Who's he with?
Who's he with? Oh, yeah. Well, we're gonna find out this season.
So I feel like Kryptonians don't do like interplanetary expansions because they're too busy being dicks to people on their own planet.
Yeah,
I forgot the caste system, and everything is terrible there. Things are punishable by death if you like have thought crimes. I forgot about all of that. They have babies in pods. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, Genesis chambers, man. It's all about the Codex. Remember that?
No, please don't make.
Yeah. So I think the last minute reveal from our recap of the season 1 finale, I think, says it all. As if Seg getting trapped in the Phantom Zone with Brainiac and General Zod turning Kandor into a military dictatorship hell-bent on conquering the universe wasn't enough, Doomsday woke up and busted out of his cryopod.
Dun, dun, dun. Also, Superman's cape from the future slowly turned into a Zod sigil.
Yes, it was
over the soup, so it was dramatic.
Yeah, the symbol on Superman's cape was no longer a symbol of the House of El. It was the House of Zod, and we're like, oh man.
Also, Segel has a beard this coming season, apparently. So I just want to circle back to that. And I have a tiny little bit of news. Is this a good time about Krypton?
Yeah.
So comicbook.com had an interview with Blake Ritson, who plays Brainiac. And he explained that one particular line from one of the famous comic runs really sums up how he plays the character. It's the line from the Jeff Johns Brainiac story from 2010. And that line is, "I will be everything that has ever been." So that is what's driving his version of Brainiac, is this megalomania. He wants to be the driving principle for all of existence, but he's been knocked off track, obviously, with the events in the finale. So he's going to be fighting his way back to that. So Ed, does that resonate for you?
Yeah. I mean, Brainiac's an unstoppable force. So yeah, I think that's dangerous. And and you know, he's gonna be back this season. So lot to look forward to. A lot to look forward to with the show. It looks like Lobo's going to be spicing things up. I don't know how the heck he fits into this world, but we're going to see. I'm excited. I'm excited for next week.
I am excited to see how it might be different. Like, is it gonna feel a little different with Phantom Zone things, with Lobo in the mix, with Doomsday actually out and on the loose? I'll be curious to see if that changes. I just found it a little bit slow and talky sometimes. And I feel like one of those, like, oh my God, there weren't enough dragons and fires. And I'm not like that, but I'll be curious to see if it has a slightly different tone with a season 2 direction. So we'll see. Something fun about Krypton is if you are on Facebook, there is a filter that will let you turn your profile picture into Brainiac, Doomsday, or Lobo. So if you do that, I don't know, screenshot it and send it to us at DC TV Report on Twitter, or find us at Wicked Theory on Facebook and drop that in there so we can see how you look.
Yeah.
I recommend Lobo. I think we should all be like weird red-eyed space pirate motorcycle guys.
Yeah, that would be fun. Oh, all right, Sarah, you ready to move on?
I don't know. I would like to talk about Swamp Thing for another 20 minutes, but sure. Yeah.
Okay. Let's get to news for other shows.
Okay. Titans, very short bit of news. There was some behind-the-scene footage of them filming that Minka Kelly posted. She, of course, plays Dove. And it shows them filming on a high school football field. And the speculation is, who do we know in the DC universe who is a high school football player?
That would be Cyborg.
Mm-hmm. So, are they meeting Cyborg? Is this a flashback to before the unfortunate incidences? Or are they just at a football game?
I think they're just at a football game. Sorry.
Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar.
Yeah. We've already met Cyborg in this universe. And yeah. I mean, they met the Doom Patrol already. So I don't know. It doesn't. The timelines aren't really lining up for me.
See, since we've already met Cyborg, for some reason it feels a little more likely to me because they have the actor and they do crossover and things. But you're right that we have met him and he is already part of the team and he is already all cyborged up. So you're right. The timeline thing is kind of an issue. But Hawk and Dove's story relies on flashbacks. I mean, they have big previously with. I don't know. I will be curious. So that's the Titans news. Lucifer? Shall we do Lucifer?
Yeah.
Okay, Lucifer is getting a season 5. Yay!
All right.
It's going to be its last season, which I would have liked it to go forever, but you know what? One more season, that's 2 more seasons than we thought we'd get when Fox canceled it, so that's a miracle. And if you get one more season, you can tell the stories you want to tell, and you can end it on your own terms. And honestly, maybe Lucifer and Chloe get their happy ending. If we know it's going to end, we know this is our chance to tell it. Unlike shows that linger on for seasons and seasons and seasons, you can say, here is the ending that we want to give you, and maybe that's going to be awesome. So I am positive about this. How about you?
Yeah, I think this is for the best. Yeah, of course, you'd always like it to go on a little longer. But I think at this point with Netflix and the way streaming is going, shows are on the chopping block all the time. So the fact that they know it's the final season going in, I think that's for the best. If they gotten a season 5 and didn't say that, it would always be in the back of my head that the show was at risk. So I think I'm happy with this.
Well, and it's, I mentioned that the Good Place is ending. That's the NBC sitcom, which is one of the best things on TV if you're not watching it. That has said it's going to end with season 4 under their own terms. Preacher is ending with season 4 this summer under their own terms. I like shows that negotiate to go out the way they want to go out and not be forced to drag things out or arbitrarily, oh, nope, JK, that's not how it's going to resolve, cliffhanger. That's... I admire that. I admire creators who know when it's time to hang it up. So as disappointing as it is to not get 20 seasons of Lucifer, I'm okay with this. This is good. This is good.
All right.
And then a slightly lighter Lucifer news. Tom Ellis married fiance Megan Oppenheimer this week. And what I think is even more charming is in attendance at his wedding were Lauren German, Leslie Ann Bryant, D.B. Woodside, Amy Garcia, Kevin Alejandro, and Rachel Harris. So essentially the entire co-starring cast was there for his wedding. And I just love it when, I think they maybe are actually friends. That's really nice.
Congratulations. That's awesome. Good for them.
Yeah. They seem really happy, and a lot of like behind the scenes pictures of everybody in their wedding clothes. It looked like a joyful thing. So that's Lucifer was just nothing but joy, a little bit bittersweet, I think, with the last season thing, but just lots of joy in Lucifer land this week. Okay, the penultimate bit of news we have is Watchmen. We have a little tease at another character that's going to be in the HBO series. This character we believe is called Looking Glass. Looks kind of like the Rorschach character in that he has the face covering morphe kind of mask, but this mask looks like it's reflective, almost liquid metal. Not like a Terminator thing, but just it's a highly reflective kind of mask. So his name is Looking Glass. It looks ominous. It's not Rorschach. It's different, but yeah, Watchmen looks like it's shaping up to be weird and interesting.
Cool. Yeah. I saw the look. Yeah, the look is very different, but still reminiscent of Rorschach. Yeah. I mean, I wonder what kind of reflective material that is, and is it really difficult to shoot? trying to get that thing without getting the camera reflecting back.
Hey, Jim, you're in the shot again. Could you just 3 inches to the left? We've talked about this. The boom mic. We see it in his forehead.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Watchmen. Okay, lastly, Arrow. All right, friends, you gotta know something. Ed doesn't text me during the week a lot. He does sometimes, but this week I got the most excited text from Edward O'Hare. Nickname to be determined. And what we're about to talk about is the thing that prompted the excited text. Ed, would you like to explain what we're talking about in this section on Arrow?
Yeah, so I'm strolling through bleedingcool.com, and they have an article that's clearly marked opinion. So this is not what's going to happen, but the title is Arrow Season 8, Dear CW, now this is crisis, done right, you're welcome. And it's written by Joey Mills from Bleeding Cool, and it's basically his version of what should happen in each of the 10 episodes of Arrow's upcoming final season. And he stated that every bit of this is totally legit. Our work is being boxed up and shipped to the Arrow production offices in LA as you read this. So whether or not Greg Berlanti and Guggenheim and everyone will take it and run with it or not, I don't know. But
they won't, but they should.
They won't, but they should. But they should. Now I won't go through. We can't do an episode by episode breakdown because that's just going to take too much time. But basically, I
think you should read this word for word. Copyright be damned.
But basically, this has him hopping different alternate Earths, each encountering a DC TV hero of the past, trying to gather up forces to battle the Anti-Monitor in the coming crisis.
So tell us who some of these past heroes are.
Well, I'll go. I will say who he meets in each episode. So first up, he goes to Earth 90 and meets the John Wesley ship Flash, who we saw the last crossover, who blames the Monitor for destroying his Earth, which is kind of true.
Fair.
Yeah. And he says, "You seem like a nice guy, kid, but no, I'm not going to help you." Then in the second episode, and this is when I fell in love with this idea, is that he heads over and meets Lois and Clark. From yes, that Lois and Clark from the 90s. Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, and Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher reprising their roles. And asked them for help. And I think this is a great idea. I think those fans of the Crisis comic know that this version of Lois and Clark could fit in with what happens to the Earth 2 Superman and Lois in that story. So
I just want to see those two actors playing those roles again so much.
Yes.
And I'm still mad at Supergirl for not having those two actors share a screen while they were on the show in the same season, but that's an old complaint that I won't resurrect.
Yes.
Except I just did.
Yes. Then we go to visit the Wonder Woman 1977. Linda Carter is going to be back playing Diana. Because why not? This is DC TV. We could do what we want.
Why not?
Why not?
Well, we've already established that we can't, the John Wesley Shipp Flash has established that this could happen. So,
Yeah.
it's reasonable.
Yeah. So Wonder Woman, then he heads over to Earth X from the Crisis on Earth X crossover. We get to see Captain Cold again, or sorry, Citizen Cold, and the Ray. And in the end, Oliver is actually spoiler at the end of that episode. Oliver actually gets the entire army of Nazis from Earth X to join his side. So yeah, we have an army of Nazis fighting fighting the Anti-Monitor. This is getting crazy. And if that's not crazy, in episode 5, he goes to Earth C. Sarah, do you know what Earth C is? Do you know who's on Earth C?
I don't, but when I mentioned it to Jason, he said, "Oh, yeah, Captain Carrot and his amazing zoo crew. I loved them." So tell me about Earth C.
So it's all of these anthropomorphic animals with superpowers. And yeah, the leader of them is Captain Carrot, who, it's basically Bugs Bunny with superpowers.
No, I'm sorry, super buff Bugs Bunny. I Google image searched this. That Bugs has biceps.
Yes.
Continue.
Yes, he does. I don't know how you would do this, if it would be straight up animation or how they would integrate it.
Imagine one of Arrow's 10 remaining episodes. It's just animated on Earth C.
Yes. Yes. Also, in the description here, it says that when Oliver shows up on this Earth, he's not Oliver Queen. He's actually a rabbit named Olive Hair Queen.
You know what we're going to get instead of this? We're going to get flash forwards. We're just going to get flash forwards.
Yeah.
Give us Earth C, you cowards.
Then he goes over to Earth 2 and recruits Jesse Quick. But unfortunately, in doing that, I think he gets Jesse Quick and Laurel. But in that melee, the Harrison Wells of Earth 2 does die.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Then episode 7. Here's the kicker, and this is the one I'm not so sure about, which is Batman 66, which I think is a great idea. But the idea that he has around here is that he's on Batman 66. He enters that world to find the Joker. Instead of played by Cesar Romero, who's dead, he's played by John Glover. Who
Look, I always want more John Glover on my TV. And if John Glover's willing to grow a mustache and then put white face paint over it, I'll allow it. But you're right. That one was tough for me too. Yeah, obviously, you're not going to try to replicate Adam West. You can't do that. So plucking out one character would be good. But I do think visually it would be so distinct. It would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I think the only major actor from that era who would still be alive would be Burt Ward. I don't know.
Oh, that's just depressing.
Yeah. So yeah, after Batman 66, in episode 8, we get the one we've been waiting for, and that's Smallville.
Somebody save me. Okay, I'm sorry.
And we finally get Michael Rosenbaum coming back as Lex.
It's what the people want.
Yes. And we get to see Tom Welling in the suit. And
I want tights and flights this time.
Yes. And Oliver does get to meet his alter ego on that Earth, his counterpart played by Justin Hartley.
Will Justin Hartley be bringing his wife along?
No. Oddly enough, Allison Mack will not return to reprise her role for some reason.
It's not funny. Continue.
Yeah, the tragic part of that episode, the tragic ending, is that both Lex and Clark join Oliver and cross into the portal. And Oliver turns around to ask that Earth's Smallville Arrow to Green Arrow to join them, but in the time it takes him to turn around and ask, Smallville's Earth has been destroyed, taking Justin Hartley with it. Ugh. Tragedy. So then in episode 9, he goes to Earth 38 and meets Supergirl. And this is the start of the crossover. So we see him with the Supergirl cast, and then episode 10 is the big giant Crisis on Infinite Earths. So yeah, I think that's a great idea. Go read the article on Bleeding Cool. I think this is just a fun thing to talk about.
10 out of 10 would contribute to the GoFundMe.
So yeah. So that's what could happen. That's what we could be looking forward to. Sarah, I think that's it. I think we're good.
Okay.
Now we just have to
Well, I'm glad that this article brought you so much joy. It brings me joy how much you enjoyed that.
Yes. Now it's time for our winners of the week.
All right. I'm curious if we have the same one this week. You want me to go first?
Okay, go first.
I mean, Donnie from iZombie.
Ooh, yes. Okay. So, I'm glad you picked that. So, give your reasons.
Oh, well, just that we saw depth and intelligence and true decision making and kind of reluctant betrayal and agency, and also he sketches a heck of a logo. Like, he's got artistic talents. Donnie was more well-rounded in this episode than he ever has been. I thoroughly enjoyed it. That beautiful blonde man was my winner of the week.
Yes, and I was really torn between him and the person who I ultimately went with.
Okay.
Which was Susie Coyle.
Go on.
on Swamp Thing, who I thought also was very determined. And she knew that the Swamp Thing needed her help. And she didn't care what Dr. Edwards said. She escaped from that hospital, snuck onto that police boat, snuck away from those murderers, and was saved by the Swamp Thing. I thought she was really active and determined for a little girl. And I am afraid of her now. I would not want to. I would not want to be on the other side of an argument with her.
I would not want to be the teacher trying to give her detention. Nope.
So yeah. Go get him, girl. All right. Sarah, we got through another week. We got through.
We did. We survived.
All right. Thank you, everybody. I know we were hectic and all over the place. I hope you enjoyed it. That's the DC TV report for this week. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Edward O'Hare TBD.
I'm at Sarah Netzley, SARANETZLEY.
And follow the show on Twitter at DCTV Report. Send along your emails to dctv@wickedtheory.com. Also be sure to subscribe to our show on your podcast app of choice and rate and review us. That helps more people find us. Check out our sister shows, the Wicked Theory Podcast and Preacher vs. Preacher. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production. Executive producer Bill Sweeney. Visit us at wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody.
Shazam.
Shazam!